Crucial conversations do you have in a day? 1, 2, 0? What is a crucial conversation anyway? Hi, I'm Margot Myers. I'm your coach for communicating more powerfully with everyone, everywhere, every time. And I just wanted to have a conversation today about how to remain calm during these conversations that sometimes go sideways, and then we're left going, oh my God, what just happened? What came out of my mouth? So this has come up recently for a couple of my clients, how to have what they perceive as challenging conversations at work. One has a direct report who his communication style makes her feel challenged, and then that triggers a reaction from her. I have another who has a boss who's totally passive aggressive and says one thing, but then goes and does another. So how do you handle these situations? What about you? Are there conversations that you're avoiding in your workplace? And how does this impact your influence in the office? How does this impact your work relationships? If you lead a team, is your avoidance of having a certain conversation having a negative effect on your team and their productivity and how they get things done? It could be maybe you're hesitant to address a coworker about an overdue report or an overdue project. Maybe it's offering feedback to a direct report, and you know that there are some things that they may be a little defensive about. It could just be any conversation, frankly, that you have with your boss. So what can you do? I turned to my copy of the book, Crucial Conversations, which is, kind of the Bible about how to have these difficult conversations. And it's long been considered one of the very best guides for creating a system and, an approach for having these conversations. So today I wanted to share with you a couple of things from the book, and really 3 ideas, and I'm keeping it to 3 so it's easy to remember. So when these conversations come up for you and you're thinking, oh my God, this could be a crucial conversation, what do I do? You can keep these 3 things in mind. So first, keep in mind what happens when you have a crucial conversation. Recognize what happens to you physically when you have one of those conversations. First, you might get triggered and you have some kind of emotional response. So kicks in, the adrenaline's going into your bloodstream, it's impacting and getting your body ready for a fight or flight response. What that means is not only do you have the adrenaline running through your body, but your body's reacting, and it's sending blood from your to your arms and legs so you can hit, fight or run, flight, right? So what that does is it takes blood from your brain and sends it to your limbs so you can take action. And that happens right at the moment where you might need the blood running to your brain first so you know what to do, right? So your brain is kind of getting hijacked when this happens. And if these conversations happen out of the blue, say we don't really have a plan, we wing it, and then we're trying to prove the other person wrong so we can be right, we get defensive or we make excuses, and pretty soon, something comes out of our mouth and we're like, we can't take it back. So what happens? The other person stomps off or, hangs up the phone loudly, and now what, right? So, I really want to have you think about what happens. So knowing, first of all, what happens with your body physically, and then focus on what it is you want to have happen. What do you really want, right? What do you really want to have happen? Start with heart. This is a relationship that most likely you want to preserve. So think about what it is you want. And remember, you can only control what you do and what you say. You can't control the other person. So keep in mind, what's the best outcome that you want for both the conversation and the relationship? Number 2, start by asking yourself, okay, what do I want to have happen here? What do I want? And just asking that question helps you take control of your body. Remember, those physiological changes that are happening, well, they happen automatically, whether we want them to or not. So by asking yourself what you want to have happen, your body has to stop and think, right? So then we move from fight or flight, so we can really think about our goal. What is it do we want for the conversation? And then finally, how would I behave if not? So if you want a solution to the issue, step away from the idea that if I win, the other person loses, or vice versa, or that if you're honest, you'll hurt the other person's feelings, or by staying silent, you're not taking a risk. So be thinking, how would I behave if this is what I really want? It's not, in most cases, it's not an either or situation. Ask yourself if there's an effective way to hold the conversation and reach the result you want. If there's a larger goal that both of you hold, how can you both work toward that goal so that you both have an investment in this conversation? For example, my one client wants to be able to hold a conversation with her team member without feeling like she's constantly being challenged by him because of his communication style. English is a second language for both of them, and she feels like she's being physically attacked. And so, oh, Lisa, I'd love to see you here. Yes, our egos are our biggest blocks. They totally are. So we have to get past our ego, right? And we have to think about what is it that we really want. So my one client, to go back to her situation, she wants to have a conversation about the tone of voice that he uses and the abruptness of his manner. His manner is really off-putting to her. And so she's going to start with curiosity and use a curious tone and ask if he really has any idea. Let's talk about the impact his communication style has on her. Because remember, we can only control ourselves, right? So, using the ideas that we just talked about, she can be aware of her own physical reaction and ask herself what she wants to have happen. She wants to have a smooth conversation where she's not triggered. And then she can really, move on to, based in curiosity, moving on to some comments about some questions about his communication style. She does this and she learns that he has no idea. He doesn't even realize the impact of his tone, the loud voice, the short, terse comments. He doesn't even know how he comes across. And he doesn't realize it's the physical impact that it has on others. So then they can begin a conversation about potential ways to change how they interact, improve their communication. But first, she's not going to take his communication style as a personal affront. He doesn't mean it personally. He's not singling her out for this one kind of communication style. And he can begin to become aware of how he comes across to others. So there are tons of ideas in the book to make conversations and how to make our relationships work better. So I just want to reiterate the 3 keys really simply. Start with heart. Control you, right? And then ask, what do you want to have happen? And then second, or monitor your behavior. Would I act this way if this is what I really want to have happen? Is my behavior going to align with that? And I'm going to post a link in the comment section below that really has some great resources around having these crucial conversations. It's from the authors of the book, Crucial Conversations. So it's vitalsmarts.com is the website, and I'll post in the link below. Also, I love to hear your comments, Lisa. I'm so glad you're here. And if this information is useful to you in any way, please feel free to invite others to join High Impact Executives so we can create a conversation. And I would love to get the group up to 250 people by the end of the year. That would be terrific. And I invite you to help me do that. So again, thank you for watching. And remember, communicate with confidence. You can do this. Talk to you soon.